Robert Rivas here, and at this time I'd like to welcome two-time Grammy nominee, TTMA Male Vocalist of the Year, and with Grupo Vida, too many TTMA awards with Show Bands of the Year, man. I can't even count them anymore. How you doing, amigo? Mr. Art Tijerina.
Man, I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me. It's been a long time since we've been on here. As a matter of fact, I think you were the first one when I went on my own, Art Tijerina. You were the first one to give me the opportunity to do an interview, and I really appreciate it, man. Thanks a bunch.
No, dude. I think we've known each other a long time, man. I can remember back in the day when you were just getting started. I can remember you being at several bars out there, man. You were just trying to promote yourself with a cassette or a CD with some tracks, and you were out there with a microphone doing your thing, amigo. And you were out there to pay your dues. No que no.
Yeah, I was, man, and I tell a lot of people that now. It's just like, nowadays it's a lot easier to kind of get your music out there because you can just go online and do it. Back then it was kind of tough because and that's what it was. I would just go to the different places and they let me sing a song out there or two, and it was great, man. I appreciate everybody that gave me the opportunity even back then.
People fail to realize. They think it's simple, man. Just go out there, sing a song, and you got a band, and then you start recording. It doesn't happen that way. With that art, it's a process. No que no, amigo.
It's a process, man, to get out there and because especially nowadays you see it because it's so available. A lot of people are like, I'm gonna give me a band and I'm gonna do this, and it's easier said than done. It's one, and that's one of the. I know it's an old cliche, but it's true, man. A lot of people say, I'm gonna do this, and it doesn't happen because you have to not only yourself, you're willing to do it, but you have to have a band or a group of people that want to do it themselves or do it with you. Should I say? Because it takes a lot, to get in there, to record, someone to, and to be able to do the practice and to be able to, of course, to be able to say, hey, in the beginning, we're not going to, there's not going to be a lot of money involved because, whatever it is. And you have to have the same mindset with everyone. And it's tough. And I think it was very tough. Like when I first did it, I was living out of my car. Those times when you knew me, I was like living out of my car and just trying to do it, man. And I look back and I tell my wife now, I'm like, shoot, man, I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm here. So,
but you know what, Art? Even more so, we'll get past the music side of it. People fail to realize there's a business side of it as well. No que no.
Yeah, there's a business side of it, man, and you have to be prepared to. And that was like it was very humbling for me. Like when I first came from Bryant, I had my own band back then. So it was just like, okay, we're gonna make whatever, and we just split it. Whether it was $30 or $40. Then when I got to San Antonio and I started meeting people, they were like, hey, I'm charging you $150, $200 a night. And I was like, whoa, I'm not even getting that much money for the gig. So it takes that to understanding to say, okay, I have to have expenses, to get to where I'm going. I have to wait to get there. I have to have, and many times you have to have your own equipment to get there. And you can't ask the guys in the band. You can't say, hey guys, I need y'all to pitch in for gas because, especially if this is your thing. So you have to be, you have to kind of set that, as far as business wise and say, what, we got to think of it as a business and kind of put everything into perspective, including expenses and whatnot, what everything that comes about recordings and whatnot. And a lot of times when you don't have a band, you have to pay artists to record for you because they're not going to do it for free. Then you got to pay for it. So it's a process, and then we've just been fortunate to have guys in the band that are dedicated to this band and we do the music and we just keep on rolling with it.
Amigo, I was going through your bio and I was reading up on it when you first got started. Now, you were with a band. It was your band called Algo Suave, correct?
Algo Suave, yeah.
There we go.
That was the first band that I had out of Bryan, Texas. Of course, when I first started singing, I was doing country music. That's all I did was country music. And then my brothers had a band called Tierra Mala. And so I said, well, I'm going to try to do my own thing. So I sang a few songs with them. And I started meeting people that, hey, let's get a band together. So I was fortunate to meet some people, and we did pretty good, for a little local band. We met the right people, and we were traveling here and there, opening up for, we did a lot of shows with La Fiebre back in the day, and just doing places that like other bands, they'll be like, hey, how are you getting in these shows? You don't even have a record out there. And it was just about, it's been a blessing from the beginning.
I was reading up. I mean, you brought back a lot. I mean, I was sometimes going through life and you forget certain things. And I remember, I think I first met you when I was kind of working with La Venganza band back in the late '80s. and you jumped on board with La Venganza band, a local band based out of San Antonio, and I was like, that's right, I forgot about that, man.
And that was pretty cool. You know, Jesse and all those guys, man, they were they've always been great. They still I don't see them all together. I'll see every once in a while. I'll see some of the guys, but it's always that was a blessing for me to be able to get on with those guys. That really kind of helped me out also.
What I totally forgot about was after La Venganza, you went on with the City View band, right?
Yeah, City View. Yeah, I was City View was looking for a singer after Ruben left, and they actually interviewed me, and I didn't get the part actually the first time. They got another singer, and I think he decided that he didn't want to do it, so I got second choice, but I took the opportunity because that's what I moved down there for. You know, I moved down there to do music, and I was just trying to jump at whatever I could. You know, so that was another opening for me to get my foot in the door and do some stuff with those guys. So, and even today we still play. You know, Esa Mujer's a big song that everybody requests. So
that's right. You're very.
Yeah, even though I wasn't the original, let me clarify that I was not the original singer for that song. It was Ruben Cervantes' song, Esa Mujer. So just to clarify that, because people were like, "Well, he didn't sing," but we do carry it with us, man. And everybody's always, "Hey, can you play Esa Mujer?" Even when I was in Grupo Vida, we recorded it. So, but it's great.
That's all right. It's all good. It really, really is. And your version of it is excellent as well, amigo. It really, really is. Now, how long were you with the City View band?
Man, I was probably with them for about, I want to say a couple of years, maybe. I'm not too sure.
Was it a couple of years?
We did it. We actually did a CD from Freddie Records. It's called. It's a City View, and it was Vueltas y Vueltas. We first recorded Vueltas y Vueltas, and I even have the cover of the. I think they had Tejano magazine that came out. They had us on the cover, and I look back and I'm like, man, that was a long time ago.
That's kind of hard.
So did you lose? Sorry.
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Like I said, I was going through your bio, man. I was like, man, all this stuff that I totally forgot about, pushed it back in the day, man. You've got a lot of history, amigo. You really, really do.
Yeah, for sure, man. I meet people whenever we're playing. They're like, "Hey, you remember the first time I met you was back in Camargo Park or Rosedale Park a long time ago." But we keep on doing it. We got a great team, and I'm sorry, man. My dogs are out here. They like to start barking.
It's all good. There we are, man. That's what I like about it. It's that, hey, by the way, man, you're the first one I've ever interviewed that's got that scenic stuff, man. You got the backyard going with the trees and a beautiful Monday afternoon. Looks awesome, dude. Now, you live here in San Antonio, ¿verdad? By the way, you're going to see a difference in the background here. Art said that his dogs were chasing the squirrels outside, and he didn't want to kill the interview, so he took himself inside. How many dogs you got, Art? How many dogs you got?
We have 2 dogs. You know, they're spoiled rotten. You know, they get so, but we love our dogs, but they're both rescues, and I think I never was really much of a dog person, but now it's just like they come home, they just show you unconditional love. So this is great.
Oh, is Art? Do they eat better than you do?
Sometimes.
Right. Sometimes pets, man, get more love than, hey, man, the significant other, man. Anyways, let's get back to the City View band. So you were with the City View band for about 2 years, and where did separation come in? Did you just say, I want to move on, or did they say that, or where did separation come in?
I don't remember quite what happened. I just, just kind of the same day. We weren't gigging a whole lot, and I had an opportunity to get a job, where I was make some money.
Real job, right?
Real job. So I had to take that sacrifice, and I said, well, I got to make the sacrifice and try to make some money if I'm going to stay here, and so I did. I got out of the music for a while, and then I got with the drummer's brother. Larry Villanueva's brother was a roadie for Grupo Vida, and he told them that, I guess it was whenever the band and Eddie was separating, that they knew of a singer. So he contacted me, and I just went and did an audition for Grupo Vida, and then I was able to get in with them, and that was changed. It was the beginning of about 17, 18 years with these guys. We did a lot of stuff, a lot of cool stuff. It was a process because it was, I had my own style of singing, but then they wanted to kind of keep the same style as Eddie did. And it was just like, okay, well, there again, I had to do what I had to do to get my foot in the door. So if you listen to some of the beginning CDs of Grupo Vida, you'll notice the transition of styles. It was basically the same style, but the vocals changed a little bit, and and they were cool. You know, it was good to let me transition like that. So, and I was with them
Oh,
for like 17 years.
oh, it's Art. When you before you got to V, then you had your job and doing whatever you're doing. Did anybody ever tell you, "Hey, man, you're Art Tijerina, man. Hey, yeah, man, we've seen you out there." Did you ever get
Uh,
that?
yeah, a few times, you know, and now, you know, people are like, because you know, I know you've seen me with the big beard. A
I
lot of
was going
people
to
are,
bring that up. I was going to bring it
yeah,
up.
yeah. So, yeah, even back then we'll be somewhere. I say, hey, you look like Arte Hirina, because you know I'm actually a mechanic by trade, so I'll be out and just my mechanic stuff or eating lunch or whatever. And sometimes I just play it off and go, yeah, I get a lot of that, whatever, but it's fun. Even like recently, like now that I shaved my beard, right? So the first night I shaved it, I had a show. And when I showed up, I was setting up, and it was just a little. So I do a plug like a acoustic show around here once in a while, and I was just getting set up, and some people showed up, and they were like, "Hey," they were like, um, and I started talking to him, and I said, "Yeah, I'm Art's brother. I'm his twin brother. You know, he'll be here later on." They're like, "Oh, okay, cool." They didn't know. Like, but yeah, you know, it's all good. Change is good. And sometimes you got to go back. Sometimes you got to go. You know, in order to go forward, you take a couple of steps back. So.
Art, well, let me ask you this. Let's talk about the beard. You brought it up. In the first place, what made you grow it as long as you did?
You know, it was one of those things where I started growing like this, right? And then people were like, "Ah, you need to shave your beard," and it was just like small. And I think it was just out of spite. I said, "I'm just gonna just to make people mad." And believe it or not, there was there was people, there was people that really didn't like it. They despised it. They were like, you know, I didn't realize that till, you know, one show. I saw a gentleman, and he came and told me, he goes, "Hey, my wife usually comes to listen to you play, but she doesn't like your beard, so she's not gonna look." Yeah, it's crazy. I'm like, I don't know. It's like crazy to me. You know, people are very, and I think that's what the problem with social media now is. People become very comfortable in saying things just whatever they want to say, and they think it's okay. You know, but you know, they're just go along with it.
Oh, is Art.
So,
So now, how long did you have your beard?
man, I probably had it for about 4 years, something like that.
Wow. And
Yeah,
no trimming, no just
yeah, you
oh
know,
no.
no, every once in a while, I would trim it, and because if not, it'd be like really crazy. But and finally one day I just said I'm going to change it. I'm going to shave and just kind of just get a reset, which is and it feels pretty good. And it was right before the cruise. We did a cruise recently, and it was nice to be out there and not having to worry about this hot beard on my face. So
How did your wife feel about that?
yeah, she was kind of on the fence about it. You know, she didn't. She was like, well, you know, one because of the business part of it. She was like, you know, people realize, you know, our merchandise has the beard, the barbon, and so you kind of have to rebrand. But you know, she supports me, so we
Yeah,
just we
yeah, and even more so. I mean, as the people are gonna accept you, dude. One way or the other, man. You know, if you're an Art Tijerina fan, hey, with the beard, without the beard, you're still Art Tijerina. That's what it's
yes sir,
all about.
yes sir, yes sir. Yeah,
So
and
go ahead, Art,
no,
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
So Art, going with Grupo Vida, which must have been like a really just simply an awesome thing for you, man. And I can imagine the first maybe year or something like that, people were going like, oh man, they know Eddie G or whatever the case may be. So you had to build your own fans in a sense, ¿verdad?
Sure, of course, yeah. You know, and it was one of those things too. Like, you know, you had to fill these, and it was crazy to me because when they told me about that, that's when they had just released El Disgusto, and I was like, man, it's a big hit, and now you're telling me they're breaking up, because it was about that time. So yeah, and then it was different for me because of the, you know, the dancing and all that stuff. I wasn't really, you know, into all that, but I said, well, like, there again, I have to do what I have to do, and then people, of course, you know, people are going to have their sides and say, well, you know, it's not Eddie G or whatever, and that's respectable, and I understand that. And as a matter of fact, you know, we were actually working on a release the same time, the same song. So we're getting ready to release Mi Charchina. So we were working on Mi Charchina, and Eddie was working on Mi Charchina, and somehow, who knows, you know, our mixtape got lost. So his got out first. So, and I think the bad thing is we're using the same engineer. I didn't know. I was a new guy, you know, so I didn't know what was going on, but they were using the same engineer for him and Eddie. So, and I think he chose his side, and that's what happened with that.
Was that with Texas Records, Art?
Yes, we were recording with the house, but we had an outside engineer. So but we did record with the house records. We did for a few years. Yeah. So, Chris Leak and all those guys.
Right. Did the guys in Grupo Vida embrace you, or was it a tough transition?
No, it was. Some of the guys got out. The original guitar player got out, and then we made some changes. The sax player stayed, and then they made some changes on keyboard. But pretty much everybody just kind of, we went with it. It was kind of a natural flow, because I wanted to do this, and I was whatever it takes, And like I said, at that time I was working also, so I was working, and recording up to throughout the night, and then going to work, and it's like you're finally getting somewhere, so you just have to deal with it and do it. So, but yeah, no, everything was great. We had a good relationship. Everybody had a good relationship. Everybody we had a great time. We had fun during the whole time.
Oh, it's Art. Somewhere along the lines when you were with Vida, did you ever have a conversation with Eddie G? Anything?
I did. I didn't have any animosity, or because I didn't know him, or I didn't, I didn't, I don't know why the band split up or whatever. So there was nothing really, I see him now and we say hello and stuff like that, but it was never really like, oh, he doesn't like me or I don't like him for any reason, because I really didn't know him. So no, everything was. I never, like I said, I never really communicated with him. He never sat down and said, "Hey, well, what's the deal?" or anything. But
yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. On my memory here, when you first started with Vida, or even before Vida, you used to wear a cowboy hat, right?
Yeah, I went back to wearing the cowboy hat.
Do you? Because then you went away from it for a while, did I?
Yeah, I went for a while, and just kind of baseball. And it depends. It depends on the show. It just depends. If it's a kind of a dressed up show, I'll dress up, and if it's kind of laid back, I'll wear a baseball cap, or sometimes I'll take off the hat. And it depends on the weather too. If it's hot on stage, I'm just taking off the hat.
Oh, is Art, how long did it take you, if it took you any time at all, to make the transition to this high energy band like Grupo Vida?
It was kind of spontaneous. It was like, okay, here, this is our deal. So I went to see their show, probably like their last show was at, I don't want to say Sunken Gardens. I don't remember where their last show was. So the manager, they invited me to come see the show. And I was like, wow, these guys are good. These guys are really good. The energy is really cool. So I adapted, and I guess that, I embraced it and just went along with it, and we did what we had to do. So, and it was really good. It was we stayed busy, and then we released, of course, the first CD with Tejas Records, and from there, that's what helped everything. We had that backing of the record company, so we were able to get in there and record and get the new music out, the new sound, and I just kind of went from there.
Oh, it's Art, and the beauty of it at the time, I've always said timing is everything. And at that time, you were young. Yeah, I'm not saying you're old now. I'm not saying you're, but you know what I mean? How old were you when you were with Vida?
Oh man, that was probably at 90. Man, I want to say
94, 95. I put
97.
Something like that.
Yeah, because I remember doing the 2000, the new millennium, the New Year's Eve, that 1999 to 2000. So yeah, 98. Shoot, man, I'm 58 now.
Okay,
so I was probably my 40s maybe.
Tell you what, man, you jump on with a band that had that energy right now, you probably go, hey man, hang on, man.
Yeah. Everybody's always, hey, do this and that. And I once in a while just kind of mess around and just have some fun on stage with it. But the whole Grupo Vida's fan base has gotten older too. So everybody's not kind of transitioned to kind of more laid back, But
that's right. Art, how did you feel when you started racking up these awards at the TTMA, man? As with the band itself, I mean, did you ever imagine in your wildest dreams that you would be winning awards like this?
No, and the crazy thing is their very first award I ever won was with the Pura Vida Awards. You remember that award show?
Sure, of course.
So I was nominated for new male vocalist, and we didn't know. We performed that night at the show, and then we were about to leave. We were already getting up. We had to go do something, and they were doing the nominees for the male vocalist, and then they called my name, and I was like, so I had to run to the stage. So that was like the very first award that I ever really won like that, and it was cool because it's it just shows you just got to be persistent in things and keep trying to do it, try. And when I did win finally I won one of the male vocalist of the year a few years ago, Channel Music Awards. And that was better, that was cool. That was very neat because when I first moved to San Antonio, my goal was to do music. So I went to, it might have been Fiesta when I first moved there. It might have been, yeah, I don't know, award show, but everything was going on downtown Market Square. And I was walking around just trying to talk to bands. Say, hey man, my name's Art. I'm from Bryan. I'm trying to get in here. I'm trying to meet some musicians. I'm trying to get a band. And then of course they were just like, yeah, whatever, kid, get out of here.
Get out of here.
Yeah, get out of the way. Yeah, just pick up my guitar and take it with me. But then when I did finally win that award, we did fanfare, and I was able to. They gave me the award on the stage that I was trying to pester around and trying to get music. So I was able to hold that up and say, you know what, this come full circle, which is very neat.
It is really something, and I'm sure you felt it when you first got started. We'll go out of Bryan, Texas, and you're trying to promote yourself, going to radio stations or whatever, and it's ugly, man. But it's part of the business. I'm not saying it's right, but people won't pay attention to you. They're like, yeah, like what you're saying, get out of here, man. They won't give you the time of day, but all of a sudden, now you're with Vida. Now you got the respect. Now you're getting, and now you're going. You remember me? You remember when I came over here?
Yeah. And I don't know if you remember Bob Olivo. I'm sure you remember Bob. Bob Olivo was a big part of he'd always believe in me. He'd say, hey man, I met him a long time ago. It was one of the first people I met. He goes, hey man, give me your CD and I'll help because he was part of the distribution back then. But I didn't, back then it wasn't CDs. I'm sorry, it was cassettes or whatever. And so, but there again, I had no knowledge of what it took to do it. So that's what I was trying. I just knew that I was just trying to get some music out there and get my own stuff. And but there's a lot of people that helped me back then that I would always hold dear. And so and they know who they are. And you, especially like you, man, you were one of the first person that I ever talked to and believed in me and said, hey, and I talk to people now and they're like, man, I knew that you were going to finally do something. And it just, and I'm glad I didn't let those people down. So I'm still trying to do it and stay busy. It's been a long career. We're still working on it. We just released a brand new song and it's doing very well for us. We've got some brand new music out there.
Art, when now you were with Vida for 14 years, correct?
17 years.
17 years. The road, the gigs, all of that. The blood, sweat, and tears, we'll call them. Yes. All of that being out there on the road. Where did it come to where you guys were going to split up? Was it your call, their call? Was it a mutual thing? Where did this separation come into play?
It was pretty much my call. It just like, things weren't really working out monetarily for me for all the work. And after a while, I started saying, it's something's got to give. I'm on the road. Even though we did have a bus, but I get home. I was in bad health. I was probably weighing about 250 at that time. In bad health, and I was tired all the time, but it was just like just keep cracking, just keep going. And I just finally had to say, I can't do this anymore. I can't, and it was almost like you have to do this. And I was like, no, I don't have to do this.
Really?
So
really?
It has shows coming up, and it was like, so I had a promoter, one of the promoters. I had a show coming up. We're supposed to be in like Tucson or something like that. And one of the main promoters called, and he's kind of said, you have to do this show. I said, no, I don't. I don't have to do. I'm not. So it was one of those things, and I was like, so I had to finally just, I got with my wife, and we talked through things, and I said, hey, we have to do is what's better for me, what's better for us, as far as my health, and to be able to be around. So we got out, and they kept going. They kept doing the thing, and they did it as long as they could, I guess, and they just still there. I don't know if they're still doing it or not, still trying, but we went on. We were out for about a year. I took a year off and lost some weight and trying to get back where I was mentally.
Amigo, was it a relief?
It was, because it was like, because after a while it becomes monotonous. You're doing the same thing over and over, and you have to. And of course, being that bad, it wasn't like you could. It was, man. So it was like you have to.
That's all right.
it's like you have to have that energy. So even regardless if you're sick or you're feeling down or tired, you have to, because people expect that. And even now when I went on my own, people were like, "Well, hey, you don't dance around anymore like you used to," because I'm not Grupo Vida anymore, and that became an issue with people that would hire them, and that's another thing. They were like, "Hey, and their whole deal was like, well, you didn't hire art, you hired Grupo Vida, which is true, but it became just like the breath of fresh air when I was able to do my own thing, kind of get out there and try to figure it out again.
I've always said that the heck is that? I've always said that every singer, I don't care what genre of music it is, they've got their own style. And it is what it is. And it doesn't, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It doesn't take somebody doing circles, doing backflips. There are singers out there that'll just stand there and sing and the girls go crazy. It's just a matter of either they embrace you or they don't. And if you got a style for that, great. If you don't, so be it. And obviously it sounds like you kind of had to shift gears, like what you said. You had to do what you had to do to get on board, to put yourself out there, and you did. But eventually it took its wear and tear on you, didn't it?
Yeah, sure. There's no way, being that I'm 58 years old now, there's no way that I could be up there, dancing around. If that's what it took to get people to come see my show, then I wouldn't be able to do it. So I had to kind of just transition that and to say, okay, what we have to actually put it out there as far as musically, and for people to be entertained just with the music and the songs and what everything that was all involved with what we're doing on stage, instead of jumping around and flying around and just
flying around. Art Tijerina and his flying guitar.
Yeah, it's crazy like that. So, but and we've just been fortunate to people to continuously just support us. And it's just like every show, there's people, and today, and I had to rebrand, because when I first came out, people didn't know my name. They just knew me as a singer for Grupo Vida. They didn't know who Art Tijerina.
Yeah.
So that was a kind of okay, and they'll say, "Oh, I heard your voice. Did you used to sing with Grupo Vida?" So that became that. So, but now, we've been on our own for a few years now. And we've got some music, our own music out there on the air,
Art,
and we just,
Art, well, one thing quickly here, and we'll shift gears. We definitely want to talk about what's going on today, but one thing, and being with Vida, did it ever come about where you said, I wanted to be Art Tijerina y Grupo Vida, or it was just going to stay Vida?
Yeah, no, and that never crossed my mind. There was
no,
no, because I was pretty much at the end of the day, I was just pretty much a hired gun. You know what I'm saying? Because although I was part of the band, the people that owned the entities of that, the guys that owned it was still there. The management and the drummer, they owned the band. So I never was going to be like, oh, hey, I want to be Art Tijerina or featuring Art. So,
how did it feel, Art? How did it feel once getting away from Vida? And we're going to go with your 1 year, saying, how did it feel being at home on weekends, on holidays, and things like that?
It was refreshing. Therefore, for that whole time, it was just like, well, I don't have to. At first, it was strange. I don't have to be on the road. I'm not leaving Thursday and coming back Sunday. We're able to do things, and it was good. It was a good change, and I think everything changes. People need to change, and so, but it definitely shifted gears for us.
It made you appreciate life away from being on the road, didn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. To be able to say, hey, I'm not out. And even now, like sometimes when I don't play on Fridays or whatever it is, I'm like, man, I would be getting ready to go on stage, or I'll be ready, and sitting here watching TV. You're like, shoot, I'm glad I'm sitting watching TV than getting ready. I don't love it. But it takes its toll also. So
of course it does, man. Of course it does. The road, man, it'll beat you up, amigo. I'm sure you know that. The road will definitely beat you up. So now, getting away from that, what is going on with Art Tijerina today? Well, getting away from Vida till today, I know you've been doing your own thing. It's been more of a country thing, right? Or am I wrong in this?
Well, we're actually doing two separate bands. We're doing the Jukebox Preachers, which is the country band, and then of course the Art Tijerina band. And we're staying busy with both. The Art Tijerina band consists of playing, of course, Tejano music and some country, whereas the Jukebox Preachers is an all country band. We just released some original country stuff, so we're getting our stuff out on country or platforms. But it's good, man. It's a good thing. It's a good change, be able to, we're playing one genre and then to say, hey, we got these shows over here. It's an all country show, and so we just switch out guitar players and then when we do the Tejano, we'll bring the accordion back and different, So we just we move around a little bit, but it's good. It's people, the band really enjoys it. So pretty much it's the same band. We just move around a couple of guys.
Were the country crowds refreshing from the Tejano? Yeah. I'm not knocking Tejano, but was the country crowds refreshing?
Yeah, and it was fun. We get to do stuff. We've opened up for the Bellamy Brothers. We've opened up for Neil McCoy, Stoney LaRue, Clay Walker. So getting to be able to get in these country, and they would say, hey, this band sounds really good. And for those artists, for those bands that come out of Nashville and they hear us play, and they're like, man, you guys are the real deal. You guys are phenomenal. As a matter of fact, they'll come out and they'll if we're playing, like, for instance, we played with Clay Walker. We opened up for him outside. And then after that show, we went inside this venue and we finished like the after show where their musicians came. They said, hey man, let us jam with you guys. So they wanted to play with us and have a good time. And it's always great to hear that from these guys that know, good music.
But Art, and I got to go back to it because we're talking country here. You guys were opening it up for the Dixie Chicks, correct?
Yeah, we did open up for the Dixie Chicks with Grupo Vida, but that was an all Tejano show.
And it was all Tejano.
Yeah, it was all. So that was going to be our go-to. We're like, our first show was in Ames, Iowa, and this was 2000. It was a fly tour, and it was in Ames, Iowa. And we're like, oh shit, man. So it was like, well, we did our sound check, and we're like, okay. And I just so happened to be sick that I was sick with it was travel, it was cold. And I said, if people don't get into it, if they start, looking all crazy, and we start seeing these people out there going to throw cans at us or whatever it is, we'll bust into a country song. We'll bust into. So we did a sound check with a country song and a Tejano. But then after we got off, the Dixie Chicks, the girls came and said, hey, you guys sound great, and we love your sound, we love it, but we only want you to do Tejano music because we want to show people what your music is about. We're like, oh, great. So, but it was good,
I can understand, man, the logic of it. You definitely, sure. Man, you want to be accepted by the crowd. Then if they're not going to embrace your Tejano, hey, man, let's shift here a little bit. At least you had that option where you could, change gears on it.
Yeah, and so they said no, we just want you to do Tejano. So we're like, okay. So we had, luckily. It was there again, it was a high energy show, Grupo Vida. So we got the people hyped up, and then we got them to do we got them out of their seats and did the cumbias, and the production crew was great. They gave us, it's not like some places they'll give you, okay, here's 3 lights and here's a little bit of sound. They gave us the whole thing. We used all their lights and everything that we had, and the people enjoyed it, embraced it, man, and it was good. And so when we'd play, their band, the Dixie Chicks, the band they had would come, they sit in the front row and they'd watch us. And when because we still had to entertain other contracts for us, quinceañeras or weddings or events that we had contracted, so we had to get off the tour and come do those, and then we'd go back on with them. They're like, man, I'm glad you guys came back on, and so it was a fun time. It was a great experience to be able to do that.
How long were y'all touring with the Dixie Chicks?
We probably did about 6 months, maybe off and on, 8 months, maybe roughly. So our last show was there in San Antonio at the Alamo Dome.
Would you consider it breaking training for what you're doing now on your own with the country crowd?
No. I think because country was what I first started. I started the country music, and I started loving country music, and that was my first go-to. So I'm kind of adapted, I guess. I want to get into the country thing, and to be able to see that on a large scale, yeah, it's like, that would be awesome to do. But it was an eye-opening experience for us. So especially in the country stuff, yeah, you're right.
And I tell you what, man, I'll lay you out. There's a lot of singers, bands that wish they could have been in y'all's position, to be doing something like that and performing in front of these monster crowds and to showcase Tejano music the way you all did. Awesome, man.
And I think had we had the outlets like we do now, as far as there was no Facebook, there was none of that, there was nothing to be able to show what we did. I think it would have been great. We had a great time, but I think that would have opened more doors for us, even more doors. If we were to do it today, and they were like, "Oh, these guys, check these guys out," But we did what we did, and we had a good time. We got a lot of great response from it, and it was fun.
Amigo, I was kind of going through your website and I was looking at your calendar. Amigo, you're keeping busy.
Yeah, we seem.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. It's my wife does a wonderful job. She does the bookings and she does the contracts and she does everything. So and then the guys in the band, we have a great band. I think we have a good product that we can sell and people enjoy it. We do a mixture of music and we keep the people entertained. And the main thing is just being humble. Not and just going to talk to the people and saying, hey, you know what, this is who we are, this is what we do, and a lot of times we're like, hey, well, can you do this music? Can you? And I'm like, well, a lot of people say, hey, would you consider doing mariachi, or you consider doing this? And my answer to that is probably not, because I think that people should stick with what you're good at, And even though I do love my mariachi music, and I love rock and roll, and I love pop music, and I love, it's not my thing. I could probably do it, but I don't think that I could give it justice. So I'm not gonna. I won't try to just say, hey, I'm gonna be a rock and roll singer. I'm gonna be a mariachi, because it's a totally different deal, and I respect that. So I'd rather just kind of keep it to where I know country and Tejano. So
I love the way you put that. I'm not saying you can or you can't, but the way you put it is, you feel it's got to be in
sure.
your heart, man. It's got to be in your heart if you want to do that, And if you feel you're not going to give it justice, then why try it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's got to come from you, nobody else.
Sure.
Either it's in you or you're not.
Sure, and of course the industry and everything is so blunt nowadays. So if you try it and you're not good at it, people are gonna go, you suck. You know what I'm saying? I get that now, and I mean, but
okay, Art. Wait, amigo, do you have your own record label? Do you have a record label?
no, I don't have a record label. We're independent. Right now we're recording. We're doing some stuff out of Slack Monster, which is Texas Latino, Sevi, those guys. So we're doing some stuff out of there, and then we're doing some stuff out of Panchito's, the keyboard player. He's got a studio also, so we're doing some stuff out of there. So, but we're not doing any label right now. We're just we'll kind of keep it that way, because that way there's no tie. You don't have anybody to control what we do. We record and we do what we want to do, and I think that's great. And I think that, to me, if you're a new artist, I think you should consider that. And it's easy to say, well, here's the dangling carrot in front of you. Let me come with me, and I'll give you this. And I'll do this for you. But now you're stuck in this contract of doing just what they want you to do. So.
That's right, Art. Porque worst comes to worst, man. There you are, Art Tijerina. You signed to a record label. You need one more song, and they tell you, okay, Art, we're going to do a mariachi song.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Hey, did you watch the interview?
So, Art, what's going on with you today, amigo? What you got going on? What is your latest release? Talk to me.
My latest release is entitled Voy a Ser Feliz. And it's there again, we kind of switched gears. We went with a song that kind of, there's no accordion. It's kind of got an old style to it. And it's very, very, just very plain and simple. But it's a good message. It's one of those deals like hey, man, if you're gonna leave, well, go ahead and leave, and I'm gonna be okay. And I have some great, like I have Panchito is the one that Panchito's a keyboard player. Panchito Perales used to play with
Of course.
Emilio. So he brings all these to the table, and he says, hey, I got this song. I already arranged it. I just need you to, we want to help. What do you think about it? If you like it, let's do it. If not, okay. So he's pretty much the guy that kind of keeps the wheels turning for us. As far as the other guys are recording, they just go and knock it out. But it's a great song. It's a good song. We just got it. We released it about I would say about maybe a week and a half ago, maybe.
Okay.
It's doing good.
But you're also recording country, ¿verdad?
Yes. I also have a country. If you go to the Jukebox Preachers, I have some original stuff on there that I wrote, and it's doing very well for us. As a matter of fact, we just did a radio interview for Kicks 108, their country station out of Victoria.
Okay.
And mainstream. So we did a VIP deal with them. They started playing our song "Summertime" on their Texas two-step, and then I introduced them to Seat 25, and that's like one of my favorite songs that I've ever written. And so they're putting that in the mainstream rotation. So we're just trying to get some bite out of it, trying to get for people to hear that song and say, hey, this is a good song.
If people want to purchase your music, where do they go to?
You can go to iTunes, Spotify, Reverb Nation, Amazon Music. Just type in Art Tijerina with a G, Tigerina, Art Tijerina Band, or Jukebox Preachers if you're liking the country stuff.
There you go. And they can, so like today's world, it's totally different. They can just purchase the single, MP3 single, correct, or 2 or 3 or whatever they want. They can a la carte, if you want to call it that, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's what we love. You know, a lot of people are like, hey, are you going to release a CD? And there are some old heads like me that like CDs and like physical. They want a physical copy. But, you know, it's more cost effective for us just to say, you know what, let's just put it out there and to keep it going. And that's what kind of, when we first started doing it, we're like, and I said, no, let's just do a CD, let's do a single and send it out. And that's kind of been our game plan. Because if you wait, you record 10 songs, 12 songs, by the time you get it out, by the time, you know, if 3 get played, then you've already lost. But you've already lost the rest of them, you know, 7 songs. So, but if you release one at a time, and they're kind of, you know, hey, here's a song. Okay, here's a bit song. Then they'll play it. So,
because it's a process, you know, some people may not realize, you know, putting the CD together is not only recording it, then you got to go over there and get it mixed. Then from there, you got to get the artwork. Then you got to, you know, shrink wrap the CDs. And then when you get them back, and then where can you find them? And it is a process. And to me, in today's world, being able, like what you're saying, you got that one single ready, put it out there, man. Let's go. You know, and people aren't waiting for it.
Now, yeah. And I appreciate, man. Like I said, you were the first guy that I sent when I first went on my home. I think it was what song was it that we released? No, one of the first songs we released when it first came out. And you were like the first guy to ever do it, and I appreciate you, man.
No, man, that's what it's all about. So look, Art, I got to ask you now. Let's talk a little. Let's get to know Art a little bit here. How long have you been married?
We just celebrated our 11th year. Just you know, so we've been married for 11 years. We have 2 crazy dogs, and just kind of, you know, trying to stay afloat, man, and staying busy. And my wife's a part of the Art Tijerina band as far as the manager. I always tell everybody, well, she's the brains, and I'm the beauty of the whole thing. Or just the dancing monkey, whatever, however you look at it.
Art, do you have any kids?
We do have kids. We have 4. She has 4 kids, and I have my 4 kids. But they're grown. They're adults now. I don't even call them kids no more. But
yeah,
still,
I do the same. I do the same.
They're grown. You know, we have 3 that live here with us. Our son just finished high school this past year, so he's getting ready for college. So it's just you know, it's just an everyday life. It's always doing. I'm able to work from home. I still have a job, but I still work from home. So, but it's you know, it's one of those things. You just got to stay on top of it and try to blend everything together as much as you can, and just go with it. Just go day by day.
Any grandbabies?
I do. My son, he lives in Bryan. He's got 4 grandbabies.
Wow.
My son, he lives in San Antonio. He's got 1. So, and then my 2 girls don't have any babies yet. So.
Right. To me, I've got 5 grandbabies, and to me, it was, you know, unreal to hear somebody call me grandpa. I can't believe that. Am I that old already? Is that the way you felt also, Art, when you grandpa?
Cool. Call me Uncle Art.
Uncle Art. Now, do the kids realize what you do, performing and doing all that?
Yeah. You know, they do. You know, we'll be somewhere, and people are there, you know, we're sitting there eating dinner or whatever, and somebody, hey, Art, whatever, and they're like, again, here we go again. And it's funny when they're with their friends, you know, their friends from high school, or their friends are with us, and they'll come, and people will come around, their friends are looking at them like, who's this guy? Who's he? They just kind of go, just never mind, just finish eating. Right.
You'll be all right. Art, amigo, if people want to contact you for gigs, for T-shirts, caps, all that good stuff, where do they go to?
You can go to, it's usually better if you message me on Facebook, Art Tijerina Band. Just send us a message. You know, you can get whatever T-shirts, caps, whatever. Just send us stuff. And usually you can find all that at our live shows. Go check out our live shows. And if you don't know where we're at, go to our website, Art Tijerina Band, and it has all our shows on there. They have ATB, that's the Art Tijerina Band, which of course will be Tejano and country. And they have JBP, which will be the Jukebox Preachers. It'll be an all country show. So I'd like to invite everybody that's just listen to the Tejano side of what I do to come listen to the Jukebox Preachers, and I think you'll really like it. It's a great time, and we have fun just like we do with the Tejano stuff, and people enjoy it, and it's a good product, and we stay busy. So come check it out.
Also, bookings, Art. If somebody wants to book you, same thing.
Yes,
Facebook.
Same thing. Yes, Facebook. Send us information, and then I'll gladly get you in contact with my wife, and then we can go from there. But if you want to do something, let us know, because we stay super busy. You see our schedule throughout the year, and if you got something planned for next year or maybe the year and a half from now, call us now, because we more than anything we'll be booked. But
that's right.
So, but we stay busy. We still do quinceañeras and weddings, and we still do club events, and we do, and there's times I still do the unplugged stuff. It's called the Tips and Tequila Tour. That's what I call it. So we started that during COVID, because nobody was playing. And I said, I'm gonna buy me this little JBL standalone system, and I'm gonna sit on my porch, and I'm just gonna play some music. I had my guitar, had some backing tracks, and then our neighbors were walking by, they'd stop and just sit down. So my wife was videoing it, and all of a sudden she started getting a message, "Hey, I got a party coming up. Can you do that at my house? As long as we keep within the guidelines of the COVID." So they just took off. Boom. So we started doing that, like people's backyards, whatever. We started playing, and so every year, every Halloween, I do that here at my house. I'll move the cars out of the driveway. I'll set up a little system out there, and then I'll play, and then all the neighbors will come, and they'll bring their golf carts and everything, park in the street. We'll block the street, and just kind of have a good time with it.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome. Art, any last words for your fans out there?
I really want to appreciate. I appreciate everybody that's out there that's been there from day one, from Algo Suave, and there's been a fan throughout the whole year, throughout all these years. And I'll run into people, and they'll be like, "Hey, man, can you do Together Forever," which is probably the first country song I ever did with Grupo Vida. And for me, it feels good for people to acknowledge that, to know that they've been around as fans as that long. And I really appreciate that. In every show we gain new fans, and that's what we'll strive to do that. I'm always approachable wherever I'm at. If you're in town and you see me, please come say hello. Or your shows, don't stop and not want to come say hi or whatever, because I'm always, even though we seem like we're busy, we're trying to break down or whatever, I'm always down to take pictures and meet people, and that's just part of good business. And I appreciate you guys very much. And along with you guys, all the media out there, thanks for always supporting myself and the band. And we're just gonna keep doing this as long as we can, man. And who knows how long that will be, but we'll keep on rocking it.
By the way, if anybody knows where Art lives or in the area, whatever, and you happen to pass by his house and you don't see any squirrels,
yeah, my dogs ate them.
The dogs ate them. So if you see Art's dogs with a toothpick in their mouth, man, they had some squirrel fajitas. There you go, man. Art Tijerina, thank you so very much for taking the time to join me on this interview.
Thank you, my brother. We hope to see you soon. And like I said, we're going to keep on putting out some music, and we'll send you some of the country stuff, man. You can check it out.
Thank you, Art.
Take care.